so much, KP, and thank you to all of our speakers. Incredible. I've already taken a bunch of notes on that one, so that was really great. And now we are going to hand it over to Terry Shubkin. And if our speakers can just hang out for a couple minutes and ask some questions, there are a few things that popped up in the chat. That would be great. And Terry, over to you.
Kia ora, everyone. What a wonderful conference. I've loved the 2 sessions I've had so far. KP loved that session. We're going to have a check later. I'm actually just here to say hello, and I'm going to introduce you to Ian Musson, who's our head of Yes, who's actually going to lead the session with 3 of our amazing rangatahi, our fabulous Yes students. So, Mr. Musson, over to you.
Cool, thank you, Terry. Kia ora team. So I'm really excited to be here. I say that quite regularly. I say it quite often because I actually absolutely love what I do, and I absolutely find it a privilege for what we get to do at Young Enterprise. And so, like Terry mentioned, my name is Ian Musson. I am the head of Yes, or I have the fun title of the Chief Student Wrangler at Young Enterprise. I live in the Waikato, but I hail from a beautiful place called Whangarā down the east coast. So whakapapa to a place, Ngāti Pro, Ngāti Kanohi. So for those who may be a little bit more distinguished in age in the room, a movie a few years back called Whale Rider was set back in Whangarā, so that's where my whānau are from. But I'm here today not so much to share about me, but to introduce you to 3 amazing young people who I personally want to be like when I grow up. And I tell them that regularly because they've done some incredible things and I just want to be like them. So I'm going to invite 3 young people to kind of introduce themselves, tell us where they're from, what school they go to, what year at school they're at, and also a little bit about their business to kick things off. And then from that, I'm going to kick off into a few questions around a panel. But I'm going to start from a student who is the furthest north, based up in Kirikiri. So Ella, if you could unmute yourself, come and say hi, introduce yourself, and say all the amazing things that you're up to at the moment.
Hi everyone. So as Ian said, I'm Ella. I'm from Kirikiri in the far north. My business that I've been running through Young Enterprise over the past 2 years is called Sail Inc. So I realized I forgot to say what school, Kirikiri High School. There's only one. And Sail Inc. has been a passion project for me. I've been teaching teenagers to sail for the past 2 years. So it's been like a sailing school sort of situation. Lots of learnings, and we've run sessions, group sessions and day sessions, and we've just had teenagers out on the water. We've taught them sort of basic learn to sail skills. Yeah, that's what we've been up to. You can check it out. We've got a website, a Storby website. If you just search Sail Inc. into your search bar, it pops up, which is super cool. And yeah, I've had so much fun doing it as a sailor myself, passing all the knowledge on to other people.
Cool, and we're going to unpack a little bit about that as we go through our session today. But we're going to head down the North Island. We're going to stop in the Waikato. And Joel, I'll hand the time to you, bro.
Thanks, Ian. Yeah, so kia ora, ko Joel Tuka Ingoa. My name is Joel Taylor. I'm an 18-year-old young enterprise student at Rotatuna Senior High in Hamilton. My business, Reeled Media, focuses on short-form video content creation, particularly Reels, to enhance media marketing for youth-focused organizations. I've been a part of the Young Enterprise Scheme for 2 years now. Last year, I ran a business called Reclaimed, where we recycled everyday plastic, such as milk bottles and lids, into products such as coasters and educational resources. This year, I've been able to create Reels and help businesses with their social media for companies such as Future Leaders Academy, a local food truck called Kahukai, the Yes Waikato Instagram, and more. So yeah, that's me.
Great, thank you, Joel. And we're going to skip the rest of the North Island, head to the bottom of the South, and Jay, from down in the very cold, no doubt, Dunedin, potentially, I'll hand the time to you to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Jay Elena Rojas. I'm originally from Chile, but I'm from Dunedin, from Otago Girls High School, and I'm a Year 12 Young Enterprise student. So I have my business on my own, so I'm the only one, and basically my business is called Relevant Kits, and the kit is a solution for everyday non-medical emergencies, and its purpose is to make every single day easier and keep you prepared and organized, ready to face every day organized. So I don't have the women's kit, but I have the camping kit. So this is kind of the product. It comes in this bag, and It comes with a lot of things. That this one's a camping one, so it comes with a cup, like some tools, some wipes, sanitizer, bug spray, hair ties, wipes, a comb, toothbrush, utensils. So I just decided to do that because I thought like people are so busy these days, and when do you have time to be ready for like anything? So it's easier to have it all in one bag.
Nice, thank you for that, Jay. So, team, a big part of today is really to unpack the journey that some of these young people have been on as young entrepreneurs across Aotearoa. I don't know about each of you, but for me, when I was at high school, which was at least 20, maybe 24, 5 years ago now, I turned up to school to kind of hang out with my mates, eat my lunch, and play a bunch of sports. So my priorities are quite different to what a lot of our young people are focused on today. And when I mentioned before that I want to be like each of these young people when I grow up, the sentiment behind that is I learned so much from each of them, and each of the 5,000 young enterprise students we have across the country each and every day, that I gain something from them and they teach me something. Whether they know that or not, I'm the one benefiting from this. But what we're going to do now is I have a range of questions that I'm going to throw out to our young budding or young teenage entrepreneurs here, but also going to take the opportunity, if you have questions, please put them into the chat and we can kind of address them with our young folks. And so nothing we're going to do today has been rehearsed, which is incredible, because the idea is what I want to do is get the kind of real responses from our young people as 16, 17, 18-year-olds in New Zealand, what it's like to be a young entrepreneur. So the first question I have, and Ella, Joel, Jay, either of you can take this or kick us off with it if you like. But I want to ask you what inspired you to start your own business while at high school? And that might not necessarily be the business you're working on, but what inspired you to actually go out and become an entrepreneur?
I guess I'll.
You go. Okay. What inspired me? Well, it's a subject that's offered at my school. And I was always interested in sort of accounting and business, like to do after high school. So I thought like I want to get a taste of that before I go to university and decide what I'm going to study. And I really enjoyed it, and I've learned a lot so far by having my own business.
Sweet. Cool. I think Ella, you're going to pop up and say something as well. So we'll flick to you.
I think what inspired me to start doing business is at school we have market day, and it's an annual thing that year 9s, 10s, 11s up all participate in. And I saw when I came to the high school when I was really little, all these kids selling these products at market day. I was like, oh my gosh, they're making money at school. Like, wow, I want to do that. And then once I did that in year 9 and year 10, then they told me about this thing called Young Enterprise. And I was like, oh my goodness, I can run my business all year. That sounds amazing. So it was such a cool way to be doing school and learning school and getting credits, but also making money for myself. And yeah, amazing experience. So very grateful.
Cool. You go, Joel.
Yeah, and so the why for me comes from the creation of Reels. Making videos is a strong passion of mine, and I really enjoy that creative side. And so with the opportunity in the market for it, I was like, I might as well just give it a go. So yeah, that's what inspires me. And yeah, I'm really pleased I signed up to be a part of the Young Enterprise Scheme, because I've been able to find out more about myself, who I am, what I'm passionate about, and now I know what I want to do in the future.
I know it sounds like I'm paying them when they keep saying Young Enterprise Scheme, but I promise you I'm not. But what I do appreciate about what our young people are sharing is that they're in a position, and I've seen something and I'm wanting to have a go. And the reason I highlight that as something really important is as we become a little bit mature, this is purely my opinion, is we start to look to de-risk almost too many things, and we don't necessarily back ourselves. And I think a lot of our young folk are just quite keen, just like, I like this, I'm going to have a go. Worst case scenario, this is the case, this is the outcome, but I'm going to have a nudge and see what I can learn from it. The second question I have for you, team, is one that I think is quite pertinent to parents who might have in the room, or just people in general who are busy. So I know you're all busy. I know that beyond Young Enterprise, you have social lives, you have sports, you may be head students within your kura, you've got a whole bunch of things going on. So I'd like to know that, I guess, a response to the question that balancing school and being an entrepreneur can be quite challenging. So I'm quite keen to find out how you manage your time effectively, and then us as a little bit older folk in the room, what we can learn from you. So how do you balance everything in your lives?
Can I go first on this one? Yeah, so to be honest, I don't. At the start of the year, when I decided I was going to run this business, I was like, I'm going to spend 30, 40 hours a week running it. And then as the year began, I quickly realized that was not at all realistic. And that with school, yeah, being a head student, other extracurriculars, I had to find a way to balance it all. So that's when I started using things like Google Keep, Google Calendar, and Notion to make sure I'm like prioritizing what's on top for me so I can excel in, yeah, both school and with the business. And yeah, yes, obviously you have the different challenges. There's 4 of them. And I found that it really works well with the NCA curriculum. So yeah.
Great. So Ella, Jay, are you guys in a similar boat to Joel? We actually, the whole time management thing is actually really hard, because I know for me it definitely is, and so I think I have solutions, but it can be difficult. But either of you got any?
Yeah. At the start, I think I'm pretty similar to Joel. Like at the start of the year, I had like big ambitions because I did run my business last year, and I had all these ideas about what I was going to do different this year, and like more sailing. And I had all these plans and all these days planned, and it was just too much. Like I couldn't do it. There wasn't enough hours in the day. So I found I'm still learning how to manage my time really well, because it's super hectic at school, being a prefect and a head student and all that sort of thing, and trying to get good grades even. So what I do is, I'm not sure if this is a recommended strategy, but I just do the next thing. So like I just put all my attention into the thing that's coming next, so that I'm not trying to spread myself too thin over all my assignments. So if it's a yes challenge that's due next, then I just do that, and then once that's done, then I can focus on the next thing. Sort of how I'm tackling it at the moment.
What about you, Jay? Do you have any thoughts on that question?
Yeah. Well, this year I kind of went in knowing it would be more school prioritized over my business, because it is year 12, like the important year. So I reckon I've used this year a lot to learn of what I can do like better next year, and how I can balance school and my business better. But like something that I find really useful is that I make myself to-do lists and I prioritize them, and I go through each time I'm doing something regarding my business. So I think that's the best thing that works for me.
I have myself on mute still. Thank you for that, team. We've got a few questions that have come in from our audience, and so I'm quite keen for you to tackle your minds around these. So the first one we've got here is, and the comment is, awesome work, guys. Wondering if you've ever felt the impacts or experienced tall poppy syndrome. And if so, like the hope is that you haven't, but if you have, how have you dealt with that? So have you felt that, there's people around you who are seeing you striving, thriving, doing great things, have folk around you started to like, or Joel, why are you doing that? Or Ella, why do you keep pursuing trying to do this thing? People trying to cut you down.
That's an interesting question. I think that people really are pretty supportive generally when they hear about what you're trying to do. And when you go to like community events and when you see your friends, and everyone's just super hyped about what you're up to, I find, and they just want to help in any way they can. And like I've had lots of my friends come sailing just because I was doing it, and they wanted to support, which is so cool to see. So I'm glad I haven't really experienced tall poppy syndrome, I wouldn't say. Yeah, really happy about it. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Ella. I think that everyone at Young Enterprise and all the other students that do are really supportive with each other, and like they help each other with everything. So I haven't experienced it either.
Yeah, same for me.
I love the simplicity of the answers. And I think there's that, and maybe it is a uniqueness of being a young teenager with ambitions, is that, people, or maybe I'm just like protective, kind of dad vibe, that if people kind of do things to you, I'm going to call them out anyway. But I think there's a really cool thing about young people aspiring to do some great things. And I guess folk getting around you to support you and uplift you. And like the comments here, the goal and the hope is that you never get caught up with people, never try to cut you down, but it may come. And so the idea is, our young folk have a really good experience, putting some incredible networks around them to kind of lift you up. We've got another question here, and I'll just scroll up so I can find it. And I might get you to start with the Joel, then we'll go to Jay, then we'll finish with Ella. What is the hardest business problem you have dealt with so far? What are the biggest challenges you've had?
Yeah, so great question. I think probably the biggest challenge I feel like there's a few. One has been getting like businesses and organizations that I can create reels for, like reaching out, so that marketing, like promotion side, because it's different. It's not like through social media. I'm almost targeting towards like the older demographic. So I've had to, look at different ways, like word of mouth for that. I think another thing would be innovation, trying to make my business innovative. And so that's where I've really tried to focus on reels.
I reckon the biggest challenge has been working on my own. So I decided to work on my own because there was not really anyone else in my class that was like me or interested in the same thing. And I just found that it would be a better idea to work by myself because I was so passionate about my product and what I wanted to do. But it's definitely been hard, like to complete the challenges because sometimes they can be long and just like having to manage everything myself. But yeah, that's probably like the biggest challenge I've had.
Oh yeah, good question. I've got a few things like Joel, and mine sort of combine what both Joel and Jay said. But I think aside from what I've had those challenges as well, but the biggest one has been being a service, which is sort of not the most common yes business, and I think Joe would understand as well. And then you really have to make people realize that they need your service, and it's also been hard. I know the whole country's, well, being a service that is so closely based around the weather, and you need good weather to run sailing. And being in New Zealand for the past 2 years, the weather has been absolutely crap a lot of the time. So it's been really difficult to be consistent in running my service. And I think consistency is a really important part of it to make people keep coming along regularly. So that's been my biggest challenge, is navigating how can I keep momentum when I have to stop and postpone all the time because of this thing that I just cannot control.
Great. No, cool. Thank you for that, Tim. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flip that question slightly. Okay, so we've talked about some of the challenges we face, but could you share with us, it's going to be a double-pronged question, okay? Are there any people or types of people that have been some incredible influences on you and helping you on this entrepreneurship journey? And then second to that, what are some of the, I guess, the big successes or the kind of like moments when you're like, this is cool, I'm loving what I'm doing right now? And perhaps if we reverse the order, so Jay gets the benefit of always being in the middle. If we go Ella, Jay, and then Joel.
So I think the first question was about someone that has like inspired me and like helped me a lot. Okay, cool. So obviously all my teachers and all my fellow students, but I would say actually the person in the end that's been most inspiring to me is actually my mum, because she also runs sailing things through the yacht club, and she's a big volunteer there, and she's a coach and all. So I don't know, having her by my side has been such a big help to make sure that I'm doing this professionally and getting it right, so that when I'm marketing myself and my product, I'm actually marketing something that's good and that I know people will enjoy and is safe and all those sorts of things. And she's got a lot of knowledge around communication, and then also this like running the business side, and then also the sailing side. So yeah, I think my mum's been my most inspiring, helpful, amazing person that's been in my business. And then the second prompt was about like a highlight strength sort of. Yeah. So I think for me, every time I submit a yes challenge, I'm so proud of myself. I'm like, oh my gosh, because I've just done all this work about it. I'm like, I look back at it, I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. Like I just made that happen. And that's just a summary of what I've been doing in my business over the years. So moments like that are really awesome. And submitting my challenges, especially challenge 4, which is the big one at the end of the year. It's like, wow, I actually got quite a lot done this year somehow. So that's really rewarding for me.
Oh, thank you for that, Ella. We'll head over to you, Jay. But I think what I loved about that is, one, having someone in your life that is influential for you, and having someone that you know supports and loves you. And you know, yes, it's mum, but it could be anyone if there's someone who's really looking out for our young people. And what I loved about the second part is, I think it could be it's a talent young people have, but not all young people have, which is to reflect. And so for our young people to actually reflect and look back and recognize their achievements, sometimes we don't necessarily spend enough time doing that. So really proud of you, Alec, for that. Jay, over to you.
Well, someone or like a group of people that have helped me. I went on the extreme experience earlier in the year, and we've still stayed a very tight group, and we've helped each other through all the challenges and given each other tips, and we've even helped each other advertise our businesses. So I reckon that is probably like the biggest support I've gotten. And also my parents, they really helped me because my first business idea wasn't the best, but they helped me like think critically and come up with my other idea. And for the second question, probably my marketing, just looking over what like I've accomplished, and it's very like I'm very proud of my marketing. So yeah, I reckon that.
Cool, thank you, Jay. And for our audience, an extreme experience, which Jay mentioned, is kind of opportunities we run in addition to the normal Young Enterprise program. We bring students from all across the country together, often to focus on a business challenge. So what she's referring to there is a range of different young people from all across the country coming together and actually building a support network, and that being a really tight bond that they've carried on outside of, I guess, that experience and also beyond just the classroom. Joel, I'll hand over to you, Aiden.
Cool. Yeah, I've realized how important it is to have a mentor that you can ask questions to and get regular feedback from. I've had a few mentors, including 2 business teachers at school, as well as the CEO from Future Leaders Academy, who has been very supportive and provided me like real quality feedback, especially during the validation stage. And so that's challenge 1 of the Young Enterprise Scheme. Yeah, another thing, like Jay, participating in the extreme experiences, I've found like I've been able to like interact with like role models and people, CEOs of businesses that come and actually talk to us, which is awesome. And yeah, like the courses I've been on, Entrepreneurs in Latin America, EIA, and in a few weekends, I'm actually heading down to capture the Wellington City Market, which my friends are creating, which I actually met from a course last year. And so I'm really excited for that.
Nice, thank you. What I actually love about hearing that is there's certain experiences we try to facilitate within Young Enterprise, but we know we can only do so much. And so I'm always proud of our young people stepping beyond that and taking opportunities and actually building really strong, long-lasting relationships that are outside of what we do. Team, we've got about 7 minutes left, and I've got 2 questions I want to ask you, okay? One of them is from our audience here, which I think is simple, and then one I'm going to ask is a little bit more difficult. So the one I've got in here is people love hearing your stories, they love hearing about what you're doing, but how can they support you and how can they find more information about you and follow your journey? And we know the drill, so we'll go Joel, Jay, and then Al.
Yeah, so you can check out my Instagram account at reeled.media. Yeah, thanks guys. And what was the other question? How to support? Yeah, if you like want to contact me at all, feel free to. You can also click onto my email through that.
And you can feel free to like, I tell our students, feel free to hustle. You have that superpower of being a young teenager. And so people find it a little bit more difficult to say no to you. And you can be cheeky enough to ask certain questions. So what I'm going to say on behalf of Joel, if you're looking for, I guess, reels created for content you might need for whatever you're doing, here's a young person who lives and breathes it. Follow him on Insta and find out more information and see also some of the examples of what he's doing. Jay, I'll hand over to you.
Well, I have an Instagram that's my main marketing place, and that has links to my website where you can buy my relevant kits. So that's relevant.kits on Instagram. And one way you can support is really just following, maybe resharing when I post my advertising. Well, it's a great Christmas gift. People have bought my kits and given them as gifts. So yeah, I guess that's how you can support.
Perfect. Love it. Ella, over to you. Now, it's a bit
Okay,
difficult because you're
cool.
based in the Bay of Islands,
Yeah.
but it's coming up to summer and people may be
Yeah.
traveling there. So hustle.
Yeah, so a little bit isolated to maybe the rest of the country, but again, like the others, I have an Instagram, sailink.nz. So if you want to jump on and follow that, that would be great. And I don't know, like share posts and stuff like that. I always share what I'm up to, like in the sailing, and then what I'm up to in my business, like work as well. So it's pretty broad range of stuff on there. And then I'm also on Facebook, which is really useful for getting to adults, because I feel like most of the time adults actually book the activities for their teenagers. So it's the same username on Facebook as well. So if you want to head over there. And then I also have a website, which is you would find it by searching like www.sailinc.com or something along those lines. I can maybe put this thing in the box, but in the chat. But that's where you can actually book my sessions, and like private sessions and group sessions, and it has the information about when I'm running them. So if you do know of anyone that's going to be in the Bay of Islands over summer, there'll be dates up there. And then, yeah, I guess if you have any ideas about what I could be doing to make the service consistent, or like any marketing ideas or anything like that, that would be an amazing way to support me. So yeah, thank you so much, guys.
Awesome. Thank you. I love the ask too at the end of like, what more can I do? I think, when you've got a captured audience of folk who are listening and also have a lot of advice or experience to share, it's a really great opportunity to reach out and say like, hey, have a look, let's have a chat, and maybe we've got some advice to kind of help me out. The last question I have for you, and again, we'll go Ella, Jade, and we'll finish with you, Joe. And it's a big question. Okay, so as young entrepreneurs, what role do you see yourselves playing in the future of New Zealand's economy? So it's kind of gone like that. So what part are you going to play? What are you going to change? What are you going to do? What impact are you going to have going into the future? Start with you, Ella.
I think that it's a little bit tricky to get your around, but in my role in the future, I think I will eventually wind up as a business owner. So I'll be contributing in that way. And then also, I think that I want to continue working with teenagers and young people in my life, and at least in some, whether it be a large capacity or a small capacity at all times. So I don't know, maybe while I'm studying my degree, I'll be coaching sailing at someone's yacht club or something like that. And I think that will make a big impact, because I know that not just sailing, but lots of ways when you work with teenagers, it has such a big impact on their life, just in the way Young Enterprise works with all of us. And you learn so many life skills. So I think that's, as well as running a business, potentially, and studying business, which is what I'm doing, but also just being involved with teenagers in the future and other young people will be a way that I contribute in the future.
Thank you, Ella. Jay.
Well, doing Young Enterprise has definitely had an influence on what I want to study. So I want to do a double major in accounting and marketing. And I think that will play a big role in the economy, because like they're very based on both business and like accounting. So I think I'll go back to my school and really encourage people to do Young Enterprise, because it's such a cool opportunity. You can learn so many things. And I know that like the extreme experience, that was amazing. And yeah, it's changed a lot, like my vision, how I view the world and the business world. So yeah.
Mr. Taylor, we'll finish with you, my friend.
Sweet. Yeah. So yeah, really at the moment, like supporting local businesses and nonprofits with their social media and helping like boost their businesses. But for me in the future, I'm wanting to go into and study international business and marketing. I think from the extreme experiences in Young Enterprise Scheme, I've really liked the international side of the business. So connecting with other cultures and how like we can export to overseas countries, etc. And then the marketing side, I really like that creative side of it. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
No, thank you, Tim. And to be fair, it's a really cheeky question for me to ask of you because I still don't know what I want to do in the future. So I ask you when I don't have an answer myself. But I do want to share my appreciation for you all joining us today. For everyone, sorry we couldn't get to all of your questions. I'm sure some of the students may be able to stick around and kind of address or answer the questions from the chat. For me, I'm double conferencing. We're at the ULearn conference up in Auckland at the moment, and we've got students running some booths up here. So I'm going to go and watch them hustle and kind of get them in front of some other young people. Because what we're about at Young Enterprise is building an experience for our young folk, not necessarily providing education as such, but giving them an experience that they can learn from, that they can take with them into the future. That so happens to working with the curriculum, so happens to get them credit, so happens to do all the school things as well. But I think for us, it's really about building young people that build a better future for Aotearoa and Manuka. So team, thank you, appreciate you all, and I'll hand it back to everyone.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ian, Joel, Jay, and Ella. That was absolutely incredible. And if you guys are all sitting here doing this, I can't wait to see what you're doing in probably even 1 year, let alone 10. So that was incredible. Thank you so much. Thanks for giving us all of your handles. That's amazing. And now we have morning tea. So 15 minutes, get some forward ambulation and some caffeine in you, and we will see you back at 11. Remember, there are other rooms, and definitely check out the community page. Other than that, take a well-deserved 15-minute break.